Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So let's see. First, I want to say happy Friday. It's the Friday before Christmas. Yep, the Friday before Christmas. Wow, crazy, right? Christmas this year. Okay, let's see what cards I'm going to pull out. Which card shall I pull out today? I think I'm going to pull out these. Let me get them shuffled and we will start our reading. I hope everyone's doing well. Do you have all of your Christmas shopping? I have mine done. Thank the Lord, right? I mean, seriously, thank the Lord. Nice. Awesome cards. Okay, let's see. What do we have? We have the Chariot, the High Priestess, Two of Pentacles, and the King of Swords. What a lovely cards those are. The Chariot. Love it. Okay, two more cards, please, spiritual team. Two more cards. And we'll get on with it, right? Nice. Seven of Swords. Five of Swords. Okay. First card we have is the Chariot. I feel like you are someone who's courageous and you're headed into the right direction. You know what you want and you're going to go after it because why not, right? We have this one life that we're living as we are right now. Why would you not go after whatever you want in your life, right? Sometimes people are too scared or to have too much doubt, right? Why? You're only stopping yourself, but the Chariot is you're putting whatever you want into action, right? You're saying, to hell with it. I'm going for it. Whether it's a new job, a new career, I'm moving across the country. I'm going to divorce my wife and marry someone that I love, right? Or I'm going to divorce my husband and marry someone I love, right? You're going to travel and you're going to put it into action because, like I said, we have this one life. Might as well live it the way you want to live it on your terms. If you're not hurting other people, right? You're still being respectful to other people, you know? That's the key right there, also. Being respectful to yourself and to other people. Yes. And you're getting your wisdom by the High Priestess or the High Priest, depending on if you're a man, right? The High Priestess. She likes to sit in silence and observe. She likes to watch what people do. She doesn't necessarily listen to their words, but she watches what their actions are. And that's when she does that or he does that, that's where where people are coming from towards you, right? Because the High Priestess is all about observation, watching people's mannerisms, watching their faces, watching their body language. She's mysterious and she's very, very, very perceptive. And she listens to her intuition, right? I'm saying her because it's a her on the card. There is no gender in tarot. what I'm reading is the energy of the card, okay? She listens to her spiritual team. She listens to divine source energy, God, right? She gets downloads from her spiritual team and from divine source energy all the time. Sometimes they wake her up in the middle of the night or at 3 a.m. with important messages. Sometimes she sees visions in her third eye. And then sometimes she warns people, please don't do this because something could happen, right? Please don't go down that road because it's very foggy out. And there's a lot of people that don't drive with their lights on, right? You know, it could be anything. And then I believe you have a choice. You know, we all have choices, right? We're not, um, we all have choices, but we all have to deal with our consequences to those choices, whether it's a good choice or a bad choice. There are consequences for everything. I mean, every single thing, right? Like something silly, like you might think, oh, I'm really thirsty. I'm going to drink this milk. Well, you know, maybe you've been out of the house for 2 weeks and you didn't know that milk was spoiled. So you guzzle it down. And guess what? The consequences are you're probably going to puke it back up, right? Or you're going to have an upset stomach and have diarrhea later. You know what I mean? I mean, there's choices for everything. We all have to deal with consequences and choices, right? So you have, you know, you have choices. You can go for what you want, right? Or you can let that little voice in your head think, creep in and say to you, but are you sure? What if she says no? Or what if he says no? You know, uh, that's part of life, right? That is so part of life, choices. And what are you going to do, right? A lot of times people let these choices stop them in their tracks. They might go to the chariot and be like, pull back on the reins and be like, no, oh, I can't, because they're letting this little voice in their head convince them that A, they're not good enough, B, the person that they're going to go see is going to say no. They're letting their fear talk to them, right? That's your choice. But you have to deal with those consequences. And what would that be? Well, you're stuck and stagnant in the same place. You're pining over someone that you love, but you don't have the courage to tell that person that you love them, right? That's your consequence. So I hope that you would tell that negative voice to go take a hike. You can think in your mind's eye, in your head, and you can like see like a cliff, and you can say that tiny little negative voice, you can go jump off this cliff, and push it off, right? And then when it comes back, just say nope, push it off again. And once you practice that, and then you're just thinking about what you want, right? What is going to make you happy in your life, right? And then we see the King of Swords, and the King of Swords, you know, is also kind of all about thoughts in his head. Oh my gosh, should I do this? Should I do that? You know, it's always um, just thinking. What should I do? Well, you can't predict what another person is going to say, right? You can assume what another person might say, but it's 9 times out of 10, it's not the right thing, right? People assume it's the right thing so many times. People assume it's the right thing, or they try to put words in your mouth, this person on the chariot might come up to you and say, oh, I love you, will you be with me? And then they might turn around and say, but yeah, I can see how you might not want to, because I leave my socks all over the floor, and I don't pick up after myself. And do you know what I mean? So he comes at you or she comes at you with positive, positive, and then it's negative, negative, right? So the King of Swords always, like in their head, thinking, 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 um, trying to think about what's going to happen. You can't really, I mean, come on, you can't even really 1,000% or even 100% know what the other person is going to say. You just can't. You just have to go for it. Just go for it and say what you want to say and let the chips fall where they may, right? Yeah, for sure. Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords. This, um, yeah, you know, I want to say this card, the Seven of Swords, tells me that, hmm, tells me that maybe this chariot, person in the chariot, right, wants to go towards someone they love, but how did you leave your last relationship, right? Were you honest or did you tell a lie, right? Did you set it straight? Like, did you leave it on good terms? That's the key right there. If you are interested in someone else, if you're engaged or married, you need to speak your truth to your wife or husband, right? And say, you know what? I'm sorry, it's just not working out for me. I'm in love with someone else. And it's just the way it is. You can have the house, you can have everything. I just want my life. Sign the papers and leave. If that's truly what you want, right? You have to be honest with yourself before you can be honest with someone else. It's not so true. Otherwise, you're just going to be deceptive, right? You're going to be deceiving yourself. You're going to be deceiving the other person that you are in love with. And if you start a relationship in a negative tone, it's always going to stay in a negative tone. It's going to be in a low vibration, right? You don't want that. You don't want that. It's going to be arguing and struggles and grief and disputes. Why would you want that when there's a life out there, you know, full of positive things, support, protection, alignment, right? Listen to your intuition. Everyone has an intuition. Learn to listen to it. It's a little tiny voice talking to you. We all hear it, right? It's your choice to listen to it, and it's your consequence if you don't, correct? And your last card is the Five of Swords. So you went from the King of Swords to the Seven of Swords to the Five of Swords. And it looks like you didn't. It looks like you did not leave your last relationship on good terms. I'm not saying that your partner or your wife or husband has to agree with what you told them, but you can try to make it right. You know, you can just say, I'm sorry, I'm hurting your feelings. Um, I loved you in the past, yes, but I am changing, I'm growing, I'm moving on with my life. So, again, yeah. So you're not frustrated and you're not going through a loss, an unfair advantage, right? Things have to be fair. Everything equals out. And if you don't make it fair and if you don't do it the right way, the universe will step in. And that's when people get karma, right? You think, oh, I'm going down, I'm traveling to my beloved, however you're traveling, right? I'm traveling to my beloved, but guess what? Now you got a flat tire, or your car's overheating. And that's the universe saying to you, mm, we don't appreciate how you left your last situation, because when you carry a negative, I want to say, when you carry a negative that you left that last relationship in a negative, you're going to carry it into your next relationship. Always, 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 always. Right? So that's why I say, make it. If you want to leave, leave. But do it respectfully, positively, and make it fair. Make it fair, right? It has to be fair. It just does. Because, like I said, if it's not, the universe will step in with karma. And guess who has to pay for that? You do. Not anybody else, but you. Okay? So I have a little spell that I'm going to. I have a little spell that I'm going to pull for you for this reading. And let's see what it says. Let's see which one is going to come out for you. Little spell. One spell, please, spiritual team. I love this little deck. Each one has a different design on it. It's so pretty. And who doesn't like, maroon and gold, right? Looks like this one wants to come out. Let's see what it says. Healing waters. Add moon water and 10 drops of each of lavender, tea tree, and eucalyptus essential oils to a diffuser to clear the air after sickness or distress. And that's nice. That is kind of on our talk today, isn't it? I'm going to read it again. Healing waters. Add moon water. Now, what is moon water? Moon water is get a clean jar, fill it with filtered water, put it outside, or if the weather's bad, put it on your windowsill. When the moon is full, and the moon will heal that water, okay? Add moon water and 10 drops each of lavender, tea tree, and eucalyptus essential oils to a diffuser to clear the air after sickness or distress. Well, that is perfect, because if you don't, come to your beloved in the chariot the correct way, you're going to need that healing water. Don't you think? I do. You're definitely going to need that healing water to help clear the distress that you're feeling, right? So I'm going to pick an oracle card to go along with this reading, the Spirit Animal Oracle deck. I'm going to ask my spiritual team for an animal and its message to come and help us end this beautiful reading. So what do we have here, spiritual team? Just one card, please. Ooh, nice. We have Crow Spirit. Crow Spirit. Co-create with Spirit. Number 17, which is an 8, and that is abundance. Co-create with Spirit. Isn't that so true? And yes, that does go along with our reading, right? It's the High Priestess or High Priest. Yes. Co-create with Spirit. We do every second of every day. Let me tell you. We co-create with Spirit, with Divine Source Energy, our spiritual team, Lord Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit, all of our guides, angels, ancestors, right? My ancestors. We always co-create with Spirit. And when you do that, you're on a high vibration, right? You are doing your very utmost best to leave a situation in a high vibration, asking your spiritual team, asking Divine Source Energy, God, how can I leave my current situation so that I can go towards my beloved, right? I want to leave this in a positive vibration that's fair, right? So that I can take this positiveness and get in my chariot and go towards my beloved. And I want it all to be positive and high vibrational, right? So I'm going to go with crow spirit and I am going to co-create with spirit. Oh my gosh, that is a beautiful ending. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Merry Christmas if I don't talk to you again. I hope you all have a wonderful Friday. Bye bye.